Hi, I'm Clayton from Gold Coast Wraps. This is our 2017 Wrap Like a King Challenge car. I'm taking this 1965 Mustang from a complete shell, barely a complete shell, from barely a shell, to a complete car. We've chosen Avery Denison's Russian Riptide, followed up with the GT stripes, original specs in the Russian Riptide Satin. It's all butt joined, perfect finish, can't feel it. So with this vehicle, we know that to get a perfect wrap and keep quality like we always do here at Gold Coast Wraps, we knew that we had to paint the vehicle. Now your wrap is only as good as the surface it goes onto. So in 8 weeks, we metalworked, grinded, welded, filled, shaped and smoothed and painted, even to the point where any imperfection in the paint was blocked out and polished. We knew we couldn't put this wrap down until everything was perfect, and that's what we like to do here. So for preparation of this vehicle, we had new door skins, new guards, new bonnet, but the drama is nothing fits. All needs to be custom fitted. Back in the day, the engineering wasn't as precise, so we fitted up all the panels and I ended up welding and grinding all the edges to ensure we have the right gaps throughout the whole vehicle. I brought new headlight buckets, not just a simple bolt-on. There was a day and a half to 2 days just to get those panels to fit. So with our wrap challenge car, I wanted to show you don't have to be ostentatious or outrageous to have a wrapped vehicle. We wanted to show people you can wrap can look like paint. But here at Gold Coast Wraps, we don't do anything normal. I've been in the industry since 1996 and I've seen and done some pretty out there stuff. But we really wanted to do something that hasn't been done with vinyl before. It's hard to know when it's your own vehicle, all these crazy wild ideas, let's do this, let's do that. And at one stage we said, let's make the thing light up. You know, we could cut the panels out, replace them with perspex, and then we thought, you know, 8 weeks? We don't have the time, the resources, the cash flow to do that. And I was like, hey man, I've got to drive this car on weekends. So the design went from super crazy to more subtle. I'm hoping that everyone appreciates you don't have to go crazy to wrap a car these days, and you can get great effects and make cars look pretty cool, and it doesn't always mean you have to go out there. So what we decided was, let's take a muscle car and mix it up. Let's do it right. Muscle car guys are traditional and hard to please. If we get this right, we can open up the market to a whole new group of people.
Once paint was in perfect condition and we were happy with it, we could start applying the wrap. We had exactly 1 week left before the deadline to get all the wrapping done to complete the assembly of the car. Setting up the GT stripes for that factory look took a bit of planning ahead to make sure it all worked. The GT stripes were actually copied from the original factory specs, which actually taper from one end of the car to the other, making laying out of the stripes a very important key to getting it right. We wanted a paint-like finish and feel of the GT stripes, so butt joining was an absolute must. This is a tricky and time-consuming exercise with absolutely no stretch to be applied to the film meeting the GT stripes. Doing this lets the film lay flat and you get a perfect butt join without the worry of it opening up at all. The result on the car speaks for itself. The scudder panel was a challenge, as the butt join GT stripes run through this panel as well. Everything had to be post-cured before trimming to make sure that the butt joint does not expand and open up at all. These are the small things that make a big difference with wrapping a vehicle. Looking at this car complete, it looks like an easy car to wrap with big flat panels. but in actual fact the car was wrapped in intricate separate pieces. The front of the vehicle is actually made up of 7 different panels, all having the GT stripes running through them and making sure that they all line up. The rear quarter, roof and A-pillar is one piece of film meeting the GT stripes to make it look and feel like it's paint.
So I guess you're wondering how we got the glow in the dark. To get the glow in the dark, we had to try a couple of things. Our first theory was I was going to paint the car and the engine bay all glow in the dark and then wrap it in clear. So when we were making the templates, Cameron's like, man, this is going to be hard. Can't we just paint the vinyl? I turned around and said, you know what? I've done a bit of that with pearls, but I think this paint's going to be too thick. So we started testing, doing spray outs. On the first test, light dust coats, and when you charge it in the dark, it becomes a little more speckly. And if you don't spray it evenly, you get a different amount of glow. We tried with their original product and just sprayed it on, but it wasn't real confident with it working and being able to conform it the usual way I do my pearls. I'll keep that a bit of a secret, I guarantee it works well. So I contacted a previous client of ours, Chris, and he gave us some of his pigment from one of his companies, which we managed to work out. There's been a bit of banter between us and the boys in Melbourne. It's been really fun, but very demanding. But definitely the excitement and the thrill has been fun, keeping it light-hearted as well as being competitive. Yeah, giving the other guys a stir up down in Melbourne, well, they knew which car we were doing. We thought we knew what car they were doing. We'll have to wait and see how it comes out. But there's been a few funny photos and a few different weird cars that have been thrown about. And it's all in good fun. Looking back, I'm thinking maybe it should have been less fun and a lot more sleep. I'd like to really thank my wife, my kids. I've devoted a lot of time into this project, and they're the ones that have really suffered. Well, not suffered, but they're the ones that are really, well, I don't know, I haven't really been home. I'd also like to thank my father, who flew up from Melbourne to help us get the plan of attack happening with ordering parts and getting things in. We know that when we went to order parts, we found that we couldn't get a lot of things here in Australia, and people are saying that they're 12 weeks. Well, I'm like, dude, I need these in like 7. I would also like to thank Cameron and his partner, Brody, for giving up their weekends as well. Thank you to Avery for making a product that we can actually apply really fast. If it wasn't for that, we'd probably never have gotten the whole build done. The project's probably one of the biggest gambles I've taken, but I'm really betting on myself and I hope it pays off. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel, Gold Coast Wraps, to see some of the behind the scenes and all the shenanigans. Also for more detail and in-depth into various parts of the build. Would like to thank you for staying tuned.